Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. I'm the Last Wanderer, and today we have Snapshot 21w18a, which makes a few more changes to 1.17, but some more notable ones for the 1.18 datapack. For 1.17, there's really only two major changes. First up, there's the change to goats, or more specifically, screaming goats. Their attack cooldown is much smaller than that of other goats, which means they're a lot more likely to ram things, and they'll ram things faster. The other sort of biggish change was to Infested Blocks. Instead of now being able to mine them instantly, they're supposed to take half as long as their base block to mine. But, this being snapshots, there are bugs, so instead of taking half as long, these blocks take twice as long. And yeah, the silverfish are aggressive. Those two changes were the only two largest changes made for 1.17. All the other major changes are for the Caves and Cliffs preview, which is for 1.18. Now if you're wondering how to download and install this data pack that allows you to use the Caves and Cliffs preview, I've made a video about it in this link here. The first significant change is that Deepslate Blobs and Tough Blobs will no longer generate between Y0 and Y16. This is of course still present for 1.17 and will be there when the final release of 1.17 comes out. But as soon as snapshots for 1.18 start, you'll notice that these blobs will no longer generate. They're specifically only for 1.17 worlds. Now, the reason this change was made is pretty straightforward. This change was primarily made for 1.17, where there would not be the expansion of world height. So, in order to allow players to get the new Deepslate and Tough blocks in that version, they allowed these blobs to generate between Y0 and 16. However, these blobs become irrelevant in 1.18 because there's an extra 64 blocks of the world below Y0. So, there's more than enough room for Deepslate and Tough to generate. This change does have the negative repercussion, though, of making coal and copper Deepslate ore much rarer. As a matter of fact, these two Deepslate ores barely generate at all. They only generate when their respective ores generate a little bit further down than normal, since both ores are supposed to stop at Y0, which is one block above where Deepslate can start spawning. Of course, it'll probably be no surprise then that both of these Deepslate ores are rarer than diamond ore, and of the two, Deepslate coal ore is just a bit rarer. So, make sure to get both of these ores before they become insanely rare in 1.18. Speaking of changes with ores, there have also been some more ore distribution changes. Not too much has changed with this one, but let me just demonstrate my point from earlier. As you can see, both copper and coal ore are supposed to stop generating at Y0, but sometimes a few will generate a little bit lower than that, which allows the very rare Deepslate coal and Deepslate copper ore. On to the changes. Both the normal distribution of iron and copper ore has been changed so that both are slightly less abundant due to the addition of large ore veins, which themselves have been changed so that they are slightly rarer and slightly smaller, though large ones can still generate. They also have more raw ore blocks in them, and the final ore distribution change is that small clumps of iron will generate up higher than before, generating now from -64 up to 64. The final major change of the snapshot is that small caves have been made slightly larger than before, so both noodle caves and carver caves have been expanded slightly to allow it easier for players to traverse. There are no longer as many one block wide gaps or narrow passages. Overall, this change will make it much easier for players to explore caves and be less claustrophobia inducing to those with those tendencies. And those were all the major features of this week's snapshot. As you might have noticed, the 1.17 features have been getting smaller and smaller, which means it's likely we're getting closer and closer to the beginning of pre-releases than release of 1.17. But that's all I've got for now. So, thank you all so much for watching. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out some of my others, and make sure to come back next time for my next video. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, and goodbye.